Are we on? All right, we are on. Happy Tuesday morning, everybody out there. As y'all are checking in, shout yourselves out in the comment section. Let me know your name and location as you are checking in. We are live in two places right now on Instagram at Dre Baldwin, also on TikTok. On TikTok is at Work on Your Game. What's going on, Tiffany T? Good morning to you. Topic here today, we're going to talk about the achievement process. I'm going to break this down into three simple steps that everyone should and can follow for achieving anything that you are looking to achieve. I'm going to make this three simple steps. We're only going to take about, we're going to go to 8:30. It's 8:04 right now. So as y'all coming in, shout yourselves out. And we're going to get into this momentarily. But for those of you who don't know me, I'll introduce myself in a second. And again, we're going to go to about 8:30. I'll take questions. If you have comments or questions while I'm talking, just post them in the comment section. I'll address them all at the end. Or if you want to wait till I'm done at the end, you can just hold it and post in the comments when I get through these points, and then I'll address them. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day, former 9-year pro athlete, author of 35 books, on 4 TEDxTalks. I created this brand called Work on Your Game. What we do here, we extract the tools to help athletes get to the top of the sports world, and we apply those same tools through our framework to the business and professional world so you can perform at your highest level, do so consistently, and generate more results, which usually means in business making more money. So what we're going to talk about here today is a three-step process you will follow for achieving anything. And again, for those of you, again, not familiar with my work, what Work on Your Game is all about is high achievement. It is all about accomplishment. It's about people who want to perform at the highest level, be the best version of yourselves, and basically max out on your potential. You want to squeeze all the juice out of the orange, so to speak. So these key steps to achieving anything in any aspect of life, these are things we need to be consistently reminding ourselves of, even if you quote unquote already know them, because there are many things that many of us, we claim that we already know, but we are not applying. Any of you have a situation like that where you got some things that you know, but when you look in the mirror at your actions, you're like, damn, I know that, but I'm not doing it. Okay, so knowing things is not enough. Information and knowing something and having the quote unquote knowledge is not enough. What matters is the application and the use, and the application and implementation and the use of what we know is what matters most, not just knowing it alone. Because just knowing stuff alone, I mean, it's the reason why you went to school. You can know a lot of stuff, go to school, graduate, get a degree. You allegedly know stuff. Okay, tell me something that you learned in 8th grade, or tell me something about physics. Tell me something about chemistry or calculus. I mean, you passed the classes, right? So just because you quote unquote know it doesn't mean anything. Question is, how have you applied it and what results have you produced from it? That's what matters the most. So let's get into this. And again, I'm going to give you the three-step process to achieving anything. First thing you have to do to achieve anything in life is you must begin. You have to start. Now, when people hear that, some people will say, well, Dre, that's common sense, right? It's common sense. I already know that. Of course, you got to start in order to achieve anything. Okay, yes, you're right. It is common sense. Let me ask you a question. How many things do you have in your mental list or on a physical list in your life right now or in your business that you know you want to do, that you know you want to accomplish, that you know you want to get it done before you die, but you have not started doing it yet? How many things on your list right now? How many of you have things on your list that you want to do, you know you are going to do, you have plans for how they're going to look, you could maybe even envision, at least in a somewhat a roundabout way, what it's going to look like, feel like, and be like once it's completed, but you have not even begun. You haven't even taken the first step yet. How many of you have at least one thing on your list in your life that falls into that category that I just described right there? So if you have at least one, then this common sense idea that, yeah, it's common sense that you have to start in order to achieve something. Yeah, it may be common sense. Doesn't mean you're doing it. See, this is the reason why one of the things that over here at Work on Your Game, one of the things that I focus on a lot of the fundamentals, the basics of anything that you're doing, whether you're playing a sport, you're running a business, whether you're trying to write a book, whether you're just building yourself up personally, you have to make sure you are well versed and really solid in the fundamentals, in the basics, the foundational pieces of anything. If you're going to achieve anything, there's no one who's ever achieved anything without beginning. They had to start. So the ideas that you have in your head mean nothing until they become actions. Everybody understand that? Anybody disagree with that? Now, again, why would I put this as the first point? Because we got a whole lot of things that we have done 0% of the work on yet we want to achieve them. All right. So just because you have the idea means nothing. How many ideas have you not yet gotten started on? Again, wrote them down, and this is the reason why I'm saying this. All right. So many people have ideas, thoughts, and possibilities of what they could do, but don't get around to doing it. And the reason why this matters also, another reason why this matters a lot, is because as human beings, we are all on the clock. This is a phrase I use all the time, on the clock. On the clock means at some point, according to current science, our time will run out. My time's going to run out. Your time's going to run out. Your dog, your parents, your significant other, your kids, everybody you know, your coworkers, everybody's time is going to run out. And the common term we use for that is called death. It means your life is over, your time is up. The world continues, but you don't continue. And we all understand that this is a real thing. This is a reality of humanity, that the flip side of life, the trade-off of life is death, right? So every time that we put things off, things that we want to do, but we don't begin and we don't actually start bringing them into fruition, we are placing a bet that we will have the time in the future to actually get to them, when that is not a guarantee. No guarantee you're going to have time next year to get to a thing that you haven't started today. No guarantee you're going to have time next week. And every time we put things off, we are placing a blind bet that we might win and we might not. Now, again, look at your life right now. How many things do you have on your list, mental list or a tangible list, of things that you want to do that you haven't started, but you thought about it last year? It's still sitting on your list. I'm asking this question, and I know that all of you have answers to this question, is because human beings, we are creatures of procrastination. We put things off as a normal, this is part of our natural default state. We just put things off and say, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it next week. I'll get to it when the summer's over. I'll get to it when the kids go back to school. I'll get to it after I make some more money. I'll get to it after I get this promotion in my business. I get to it after I clear up all these bills that I got to pay. I hear these things from people every single day. All these things that they want to do. And I'm like, okay, well, how much have you done of it right now? And somebody will tell me something they want to do. I say, how much have you done of it right now? They'll tell me they haven't done anything. And I say, well, I ask them some form of, what are you waiting for? Why have you not begun doing the thing? And they'll start telling me all the stuff they need to take care of before they start doing the thing that they say that they want to do. Because again, I'm not pulling it out of them. They say they want to do this thing. They brought it up to me that they wanted to do ABC. I'm like, all right, why aren't you doing ABC? Well, I had to do this first. I got to pay these bills first. I got to finish this project first. I got to get in shape first. I got to, the other partners in my business said we got to do this and this first before I get to that other thing. So everybody, many of us, and almost every human has this. Some people will openly admit it, some don't, but we all have these things that we're putting off as if we had time in the future. You are not guaranteed the future, right? You are not guaranteed the future. Now, the challenge with this whole concept of not being guaranteed the future is that whatever age you are, for 30 years or 45 years or 70 years or 22 years, every day you have woken up from the previous day. So you have reason to believe that if you made it to the last 3,000 days, you'll make it to the next 3,000 days. And you're probably right until you're not right. And when you're wrong, you don't have a chance to fix it. And this is where the sense of urgency has to come in for all of us, because what is our normal default state is complacency. Well, I've made it. I've woken up the next day every day so far in my life, so I think I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And that gives us reason to believe we can put things off until later, until we don't have time to put things off until later. And now we can't do anything. So whatever is left on the plate that you haven't done, you haven't gotten to yet, when your time runs out, you don't get a do-over. It's not like a video game where, all right, I messed that up, let me fix it now. So it's not like that. And when your time runs out, it's completely over. So this is why starting matters so much. And we can't keep telling ourselves we'll get to it later. Second point, we're talking here today about the 3-step achievement process. And again, any of you have a question or comment, anything I'm saying, just put it in the comments. I'll address it after I go through these 3 points. Second thing is follow through. So once you start something, next thing is you got to actually do the work. Everybody understands what that means, right? So it's kind of like somebody decides they're going to run a marathon. All right, they never even ran around the block. Now they're going to run a marathon. It's doable. All right, so you start by, or you go outside and you go run let's say you start by walking a mile or two just to get your body used to the movement because you haven't done it before. Marathon is 26.2 miles. You never even walked 1 mile, so you walk a mile. Right now, the follow through part, so you did the starting part, you got that down. Now the follow through part is now you got to do all the workouts that ramp you up to being able to run 26.2 miles in one shot. All the things that ramp up is, okay, now we got to run a mile. Now you got to run maybe 2 miles or 5 miles or 10 miles. Now you got to do it 3 or 4 times a week over the course of, who knows, 6 weeks, 6 months to get yourself in shape for running the race. See, that's the follow through part. And this is the part that many people fail at. I wrote a whole book called The Third Day. If you're all y'all watching on video, so The Third Day is, if you're on TikTok, is right there. I'm pointing at, and if you're on Instagram, is this book right here. It's called, the subtitle of The Third Day is The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs. And the third day is all about how you show up and give your best effort when you least feel like it. This is about the follow through part. So anything you're going to achieve in life, you got the beginning, you got the middle, and you got the end, right? So the middle part is where most people fail. Actually, most people fail at the beginning. Most people never start. But the people who do start, most of them fail somewhere in the middle, in that they can't follow through. They don't have the discipline to keep showing up consistently to actually do the job, whatever the job happens to be. Most people do not consistently follow through on a job once it's begun. How many of you, I don't know, maybe anybody in here is guilty of this, but I talk to a lot of people who want to write books. So I'm an author. I've written 35 books. I talk to people often who tell me that they want to write a book, or that they're in the process of writing a book, and they started the book, but they haven't finished the book. They're like, well, I'm working on a book. I got an idea for a book. I have this thought. I'm going to write this book about ABC, whatever they tell me it is. Okay, how much of the book have you written? None. I haven't done any of the writing. Or I started writing it. I wrote a page or two, but they haven't actually finished it. Many people just can't get through the middle part of following through, which is the consistent work that you have to do over and over and over again in order to get to the part where you can at least see the finish line of the project that you're doing. Now, why do many people fail here? Because this part is not exciting. This part is not fun. This part is not, there's no party here. See, it's exciting and there's a party and a celebration when you finish a job. And it's exciting when you start a job because it's a brand new thing. But see, all that stuff in the middle is nothing exciting about the stuff in the middle. This is the reason why many people don't do it. Because it's not exciting. It's not fun. There's no party. There's no big celebration. There's nothing interesting about the stuff that happens in the middle in a general sense. And this is the reason why many people don't do it. But this is the part that separates the pros from the amateurs. That's why the subtitle of my book, The Third Day, is The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs. Because the pros show up on those middle days, those boring days, those tedious days, those monotonous days. They show up and do the job those days when everybody else doesn't show up because it's not exciting and it's not fun for them. So question is, what projects have you started that you need to get through the middle of that you haven't really gotten to? All right, this can be a little bit trickier for some people because maybe you don't know what the middle steps are. All right, maybe you did start your project, and I talk to people who tell me this. Remember, I was talking to somebody who was like, I want to put together a course. They want to sell an online course, and they know they want to make a course. That's the finished product, and they know that there needs to be some material in there for the people. That's the starting point, but they don't really know how to put it together, the middle part. So sometimes you just have a lack of information, which can be easily solved. The information is pretty easily accessible these days. And then sometimes if you have access to information, but you don't know what to do with it, then you find yourself stuck or lost. So you have to make sure you have the right information, make sure you have the right insight, and then you have to do the implementation. And this is work. I want to make sure everybody understands this. This is the work, is that you have to show up and actually do the job. Anything in life that is worth achieving or having is not going to be easy to get, because if it was easy to get, it wouldn't be worth it because everybody would have it. And understand that scarcity makes the value of things go up and availability makes the value of something go down. So when something is hard to get, it is more valuable because fewer people will have it. That's what makes it more valuable. And when anybody can access it, then people don't really value it. It's like in America, people don't really value, let's say, tap water for the most part, because most people have access to generally clean tap water. So we don't really value it that much. But something that is hard to get access to, people value that a lot. Why? Because it's harder to get. So all you got to do is look around, rather, at other people in life and notice the things that they're not willing to do, but they are worth doing. Again, not willing to do, but they are worth doing. So don't just do stuff just because other people don't do it. Now, some things people don't do for a reason. But find the things that people are not willing to do, but are worth doing. Those are your opportunities. And understand that those opportunities are dressed up as hard work and effort and discipline and diligence and follow through and resilience and persistence. All those things that all you know about, but are you willing to do them? That's the question. It's not like I'm giving you some brand new idea here. The question is, are you willing to do the work to follow through on them to get to your outcome? And understand something. let me give you a key point here, because this is where a lot of people get lost also, or they set themselves up to lose, is they say, okay, well, all I have to do then, I get it, Dre, I just need to. That is a common last words phrase right there. I just need to. And let me tell you what usually follows this phrase when people use this language. I just need to work harder. I just need to do the stuff that I know I need to do. I just need to show up consistently. I just need to get motivated. I just need to just make myself do the thing. All right. Any of you use this kind of language? Some of you are using this language on yourself today. Here's a challenge with I just need to. Challenge with I just need to is that you've known that you just need to for the last 3 years. So clearly, I just need to is not the solution to your problem. I just need to is not the solution to your problem. Let me say it one more time. I just need to is not the solution to your problem, because you already knew that you just needed to. The challenge is I just need to has not been enough, but not been enough to move you to the proper actions to get to your outcome. Therefore, you need a different approach. You need to use a different formula. I just need to is usually followed by some form of something that you're going to tell yourself that you need to do to just make yourself do a thing. Again, you're not dumb. You know that the thing needs to be done, but you're still not doing it despite the I just need to. Therefore, you need a different approach. You need a different impetus to move you forward. Sometimes you need new tools. Sometimes you need new information. Sometimes you need new insight. You need a new approach. Sometimes maybe you need to get the services or help of something or someone outside of yourself so that you can get the thing done, because clearly you alone is not a sufficient resource for you to move yourself to that action or to get the thing done. And understand that getting that thing done does not necessarily require that you do it. You don't have to do it all yourself. You don't have to do it all yourself. This is another common challenge that I notice coming from many people, that they have this default mindset, and this is not even really your fault. It is your responsibility, but it's not really your fault, because in Western society, especially in the United States of America, it's a common mindset for all of us. It's just that whenever we're not getting our outcome, what's the thing you should do? Just work harder, put in more effort, do it all yourself. All right, work harder, do your thing, grind, team no sleep, wake up early, stay up late. This is just a common ethos of especially in the United States of America, just the American mindset is we just do it all on our own. Understand that this mindset might be the very thing holding you back and slowing you down. And listen, my whole brand is called Work on Your Game. So I'm not against the concept of work. I'm not against the concept of effort. I'm not against the concept of putting in a lot of effort and time. I work hard every single day. At the same time, understand there are times I got to catch myself and say, okay, is me just working harder, is that really going to solve this problem? What is another way that I can solve this problem besides me just working harder? Is there something else I could do? Is there something else I could use? Is there someone who I need to talk to or get access to, or whose energies and information I could leverage to help me get to this outcome besides me just putting in more effort and more time? Understand something, everybody. Even though I'm talking about follow through here, and it is important, you must follow through if you're going to get anything done. Hard work is not the key to success. Hard work is not the key to success. Hard work is an element of success. Let me say that again. I want to make sure all you caught it. Hard work is not the key to success. It is an element of success. Do you need to work hard to be successful? Yes. Is hard work the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful? Sometimes it may seem that way, but the real difference is the implementation and what you are working hard on, not whether you're working hard at all. The CEO works hard. Can we agree? Okay, so why does the CEO earn 100 times more money than the maintenance man? Even though they both work hard. And the maintenance man might work harder than the CEO. So why is the CEO making 100 times more money? Because what the CEO is working on is more valuable than what the maintenance man works on. So what are you working on is the question, not if you're working. I think most of you work hard. I mean, my whole thing is called Work on Your Game. So if you don't want to work, you probably listen to the wrong person. What are you working on is the question. And again, insight is where what helps you discern, what am I working on, and should I keep working on this? And even if I do work on it, as hard as I can, is this going to get me to the outcome that I want to get to? All right, these are questions that you got to ask yourself. And if you ask the wrong question, it doesn't matter if you get the right answer. Let me say that one again. You ask the wrong question, it doesn't matter if you get the right answer. See, this is what Google can't help you with. Even though Google, YouTube have basically democratized all the information known to man, one thing they haven't democratized is your ability to think. See, Google and YouTube can't think for you. All they can do is provide you answers to the questions that you ask. So if you're asking the wrong question, it doesn't matter what they give you. Everybody following what I'm saying here? So you got to ask the right question, not have the right answer. When you ask the right question, even if you can't answer the question, now it moves your brain to think in a different way. And that's what leads to breakthroughs and insights, breakthroughs and changes, not just having all the information. I talk to a lot of people who tell me that their challenge is, well, I don't have the information. That's not your challenge. Is not that you don't have information. You get information for free, right? Everybody has one of these, right, within arm's reach right now. Most of you are watching me on the phone because everybody got your phone within arm's reach. All the information in the world is available through that. So it's not information, folks. It's insight. What kind of questions are you asking? This is all part of follow through. So let me move on. Point number 3. We're talking here about the 3-step achievement process. And by the way, I'm going to answer all questions at the end. We're going to go about 5 more minutes. Number 3 is completion. This is the finishing of the project. Understand that we often start things as a means to an end. All right, I'm going to start doing this because by doing this, I'll be able to get to this outcome. The challenge is we forget sometimes about the fact that we started something as a means to an end, and we just keep doing it as if it is the end within itself. We don't think about what's the finish line of this thing that I'm doing. How do I know that I'm actually done? How do I get out of this? And we don't finish. We never come to a completion. Completion is when a task is done, the job is finished. How do you know when the task is done, the job is finished? That's a question you should be able to answer because you should have that laid out before you start. How do I know when I'm done doing this? You need to know the answer to that question before you begin. How is this finished? When is this finished? What has to be done? What are all the pieces that go into this so that I know the job is complete and I can move on to the next job? Many people never get to moving on to the next thing because they never finish the first thing because they don't know what finished means. They haven't clearly defined what it means to be finished with a thing. And therefore, you basically get yourself stuck in the hamster wheel of continuing to do something as an end in itself when it was originally supposed to just be a means. So what finishes the job for you? You don't have answers to that question. Again, you'll never know. And this is how you can give a whole lot of time to a thing and still feel like you're not really making progress because you don't know where the game is over. Where's the game end? And my favorite book of all time, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, he talks about one of his chapters. I think it's chapter number, no, let me not guess on the chapter, but it's plan all the way to the end. People who are powerful and who make things happen in life plan to the end of everything that they begin. So when they start something, they know, okay, here are the things that need to happen for me to know that this job is done so I can move on to the next job. But if you don't know what ends one job, then you can't move on to the next job. And then you find yourself just continually doing stuff and not knowing when to stop. So when you go to the gym, any of you who works out, all right, you usually have an idea of when you're finished, right? I'm going to do this many sets of this many repetitions, right? I ran outside this morning. I know how far I'm going to run. I'm going to run 6 miles and I'm going to run this way and I'm going to go this route. When I get back to this point, the run is over and I stop. But if you don't know when to stop, you can just keep running and never be done. Like Forrest Gump. Remember Forrest Gump in the movie when he just started running and he didn't know when to stop? It was an interesting scene, but you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be like Forrest Gump. You should know when you're done. All right, how many sets am I doing? How many calls do I need to make? All right, what do I need to achieve? You got to know when the job is done so you know when to stop. And if you don't know when your marks for completion are hit, then again, you can catch yourself on a treadmill. Problem with a treadmill, folks, is that treadmills don't stop moving until you get off of it. And so you got to know when to push the stop button. All that said, let me recap these points. Anybody got a question or comment, put it in the comment section. I'll address it right now. So we're talking a 3-step process to achievement. These are 3 very simple steps, but there can be a lot of pieces within the steps. First one is starting. Again, you have a bunch of things on your list mentally or tangibly that you want to do. You have not even begun doing them as if you have unlimited time. Stop fooling yourself. You have to actually begin. Number 2 is the follow through. This is when you do the actual work. This is the meat and potatoes. This is the hard stuff. This is the everyday work. This is the grind. This is the persistence. This is the discipline. All those words, the resilience, all of that. That's the follow through part. You must do this part to be successful. Anything that is worth having in life, you must go through the grind and the tough stuff to get to it. If it was easy to get to, it wouldn't be worth having. And number 3 is the completion. How do you know when the job is done? What is your finish line? If you don't know what the finish line is, you will never know when to stop running and when to stop moving. You got to know what your finish line is, what your done point is. If you don't know, then you'll never know when to stop. With all that said, let me address questions, comments. If you got any, put them in the comment section right now. And I'm going to take a minute or two, address these and wrap it up. J Tip says he's gonna make a song for me. All right, I'm interested to hear it. DJ Chris says I got ideas, but I procrastinate because I don't know where to start. Sometimes that's where you invest. I talked about that yesterday. You got to make investments in getting help and insight into where do you start and how do you start and whatever your ideas are, who can help you actually get to them. Identify people who have already done the thing that you're looking to do, or at least directionally what you're looking to do, and you need to invest in access to those people. That was what I talked about in yesterday's live. You can see it on, it's still on IG if you want to look it up. One Race Alliance says you have more days behind you than you do ahead of you. Some people, it depends. We don't know. One Race Alliance is actually, I get what you're saying directionally, but technically we don't know. So if you're 50 years old, you might live to 105. You might actually have more days. We pretend as if we have unlimited amounts of time. That's the challenge. And when we think about that on a more logical level, consistently, consciously, that's when it can create hopefully some more urgency underneath us and move us to action. Stars Tina, good to see you. Good morning. Chris says, I do follow. Google can't always give you that right direction. Yes, Google is not going to be the solution to your problems. Chris says, I appreciate the answer. And everything saved to your Instagram, your past live streams I missed. Not all of them, but I know the one I did yesterday is still up there. And let's see what we got over on TikTok. If you got a question on TikTok, go ahead and post it. TikTok is a little bit more work as far as the scrolling. This thing is so small. What's going on, Malik? Good to see you. Yes, a question about Paul George. Let's see. If you got a question on TikTok, go ahead and post it. I'm scrolling. Let's see. What was the name of the book I recommended Robert Greene? It's 48 Laws of Power. And that's Robert Greene with an E on the end. It's pretty easy to find. It's a very popular book. It's called 48 Laws of Power. My favorite book. All right, everybody. So I told you I'll be going live. I will be going live every day this week at least. I don't know if I'm going to keep this going, but every day this week at 8 a.m. Eastern, I'll be going live. And we're only going about 30 minutes. We're at 8:31 right now, so we are over time. Any of you want to talk to me or have any questions for us at Work on Your Game, our main focus is Work on Your Game University. That's where I do all my coaching. That's where we have all our programs, all our courses, our masterminds, all of that. To send the word GAME, GAME, game. Just send a DM with the word GAME. My assistant, my team is always watching the DMs, and they'll start a conversation with you over there for any of you who wants to go deeper with us. Again, that's Work on Your Game University. That link is in my bio on, I think, both of these apps is the link in my bio. And I will be here live tomorrow, God willing, 8 a.m. Eastern. Everybody have a great Tuesday. Work on your game. We out of here.